Michigan has another scandal brewing in its athletic department, and this time it is centered around the Michigan basketball program. And it just seems like Michigan and Warde Manuel make more problems than they absolutely know how to solve. It's wild. This time there are reportedly internal investigations and leaks, if you will, in the athletic department that are leading to stories being formulated about a cultural problem in the Michigan basketball program. This is not new. This is not a secret, but now it's all coming to light. We know about Juwan Howard and strength and conditioning coaches. We know about incidents in practices. We know about incidents in handshake lines. Juwan Howard has been nothing short of an abject failure, specifically this season, where this may be the worst season in the history of Michigan basketball, overseen by Juwan Howard. But now we are starting to hear rumblings about investigations into off-court issues and issues with players away from the program, issues about the way that players are treated and the conditions that they are subjected to. This does not sound good. And what it sounds like is another incident of a lack of institutional control by Warde Manuel in the athletic department. And I just don't know where you go if you are Michigan, because it's fine if you're going to lose basketball games. The Big Ten is not exactly a basketball juggernaut, as we have talked about, but it's not fine when you have issues related to how the basketball coach and management team in the basketball department is treating players and how those players are acting away from the arena. It just seems like, Jake, this is getting worse and worse, and it's piling on to what is already a significant amount of issues in the Michigan athletic department.
Yeah, and I don't understand when Michigan's going to do something about this. I mean, at what point do you fire Warde Manuel? At what point do you get control of your athletic department? At what point do you say, hey, like, we're tired of having scandals. We're tired of being the ones at the center of a cheating scandal. We're tired of being the ones that are investigated by the FBI. We're tired of being the ones that are having our reputation tarnished, because that's all this is. Whether like you can name a million different problems. You can look at, hey, it's off the court issues with the basketball players. It's this with the hockey players. It was that with the football team. Like, I don't know what needs to take place for, the chancellors or the upper management at Michigan to say, yeah, like, our athletic department is being run really poorly, and it hurts our university seemingly on a monthly, if not daily basis, the last probably 6 months or so. And it's a bad look. And by the way, all this is happening in a time when the landscape in college football is changing, and in a time when basketball is more important than ever. So to me, it's shocking that we have to sit here and talk about yet another issue in your athletic department. And I get it. There are other athletic departments around the country who lost $240 million or are in bad shapes or whatever the case might be. But Michigan is a top tier brand. Michigan is one of the blue bloods. And yet here we are talking about another issue. And I'm just curious how long it's going to take. Like, does Warde Manuel get fired after the basketball season's over? Is that how this is going to get handled, or what? What's going to be done about it? And I think that's the part, if I was a Michigan fan, that I would be most frustrated with. Not even that your basketball team is underachieving or that Juwan Howard hasn't really lived up to it. None of that, right? Even though that's a problem. The issue is that there is always something happening that is nefarious and not top-notch in your athletics department. And it's going to continue to haunt you until you do something about it.
Yeah, and I think the bigger story here is you have a guy in Warde Manuel who's been at Michigan going on a decade now. I think this is his 8th year in Ann Arbor as the athletic director. He is now the chairman of the College Football Playoff Committee. I mean, this is a guy that has got some sway as far as college football and, really determining who wins the national championship or who has the opportunity to compete for a national championship. I think we all know the well-documented issues in the football department at Michigan. I think it was absolutely a slap in the face to Warde and the University of Michigan that Jim Harbaugh moved on. Even though, every diehard Michigan football fan was certain he was coming back, he was never going back. I think Warde Manuel thought that he could somehow save that. He didn't. You have multiple scandals in the football department, whether it be the sign stealer guy, whether it is the recruiting dark period during COVID, whether it is this FBI computer crimes thing with Matt Weiss. I mean, your football department is ravaged by scandal, right? You've fired coaches and staffers over it. Now we're looking at a basketball scandal that talks about players' health and safety and talks about behavior away from the game. And your head basketball coach is nothing short of a lightning rod. And this is in a culture at the University of Michigan where now we're starting to wonder about the ethics and the morality of the general business practices when it comes to athletics at Michigan. Is it win at all cost? Is it save face at all costs? Because that's what this appears to be. If you do not fire Juwan Howard, and Warde Manuel this week said exactly what you would expect him to say. When he was asked by The Athletic, I think it was Auerbach who asked him, hey, are you considering making a change with the basketball coach? He said, I have not thought about firing Juwan Howard. I would not disrespect him like that. That's exactly what Warde Manuel should say. If you do not fire his ass the day this season is over, Warde Manuel should be held 100% accountable, as he should be anyway. But Warde Manuel should lose his job for malfeasance if he is not terminating Juwan Howard the day this season is over. Because even if it is just physical altercations, even if it is just grabbing a kid, even it's just this strength and conditioning coach situation, you're the University of Michigan. Do you not hold yourself to a higher standard than that?
Well, we've been asking that question for how long now? And it doesn't seem like they do. It doesn't seem like there's a sense of prestige or class or, any type of pride taken in what your athletics department is doing. Yet we're cool. We're cool, having Sharon Moore crying on the field after games, and we're cool.
It's wild,
having all these cute little moments, but nobody wants to talk about the nonsense that goes on in the program. And this is why I say, I don't care if you're a Michigan fan or if you're an Ohio State fan, or if you read some dumb Ohio State board that gives you some crazy information about what's going on or not going on in the basketball program. The conversation is that this is a blue blood in college athletics doing allegedly really bad stuff outside of on the field activities. And
I think we've been hearing about this basketball thing for several months now. Like, I think when we got to the first of the year, certainly Juwan Howard was already a mess, and he's been a mess for a couple of seasons. That's not new. But now when you're hearing some pretty serious allegations, and I'm going to be frank with you, we're not going to detail those because it is almost impossible to corroborate the level of allegations that we are hearing. And that's why we're not being specific. We're not, as you guys are well aware, we take our sourcing very seriously on this show. We do not just roll out, half-baked, hey, we think this, or it doesn't work like that. We're talking about very serious allegations in their basketball department. And I think you are at a point now where you have to take action. And if Warde Manuel does not, I don't know how long Michigan can allow this to happen. And I don't care if he's the chairman of the College Football Playoff Committee. I really don't care. I think Warde Manuel at some point lost his way as an athletic director. And I think whether it was win at all cost, whether it was support Jim Harbaugh at all cost, whether it was getting embarrassed in court, whatever you want to point to, Warde Manuel lost his way at Michigan. He lost himself as an athletic director because the guy he was at UConn is not the guy he is right now at Michigan. He's not. And he is somebody that when he took this job, he was looked at as a high-level operator. And he was looked at as a good athletic administrator. And I don't see anything good about the athletic department in Michigan right now.
And I think he's got a responsibility to make it good. I think that too often now, and especially in college athletics, guys want to come in, take a job, and then they want to leave. And they want to leave their last job in a dumpster fire. And so whether that's Jim Harbaugh, I don't know if that's going to be Warde Manuel or not. I'm not saying he's that guy, but what I am saying is that if he gets fired at the end of the basketball season, let's say as an example, you left the athletic department in a far worse position than it was when you got it. And no, I don't care that you won a national championship in football, because that national championship is going to have a heavy price to pay, and you're not going to be the one to pay that price. And no, losing your job over it is not paying the price. Paying the price would be keeping your job and dealing with a huge downturn in football because you're not capable of winning games because you're being sanctioned.
I think you have to, if you are Michigan and you're going to keep Warde Manuel, you have to have him step aside from the college football playoff committee because the entirety of his focus needs to be in Ann Arbor. You have got to fix whatever this is that is happening in your football department. Whatever this is that's going on in basketball. I mean, you brought in Juwan Howard, you fired a guy in John Beilein. Like, you think about where this program has been for some time now. When's the last time that Michigan was relevant? And you finally welcome the Fab Five back in, and you finally set some things right. And then all of this has just been allowed to go on in what feels like, and I'm sure behind the scenes, it has not gone unchecked. I would assume that Warde Manuel, as the athletic director, is stepping in and having conversations and taking decisive action in these situations, or he'd have been gone already.
Mm-hmm.
But we have heard repeatedly over the last 6 months, and the rumblings of this at Michigan started during the football season with this Jim Harbaugh cheating scandal. There is a large swath of administration and staff at Michigan who did not support going to court and spending money defending Jim Harbaugh. I don't know how they would have a different opinion of Juwan Howard. And just from an on-court perspective, what he's done in handshake lines would get most coaches sanctioned on some level.
Mm-hmm.
But then this thing with the strength and conditioning coach and, just grabbing players, arguing his demeanor, Juwan Howard, before he got to Michigan, was one of the hottest coaching candidates in the country. How did we get here at Michigan?
Yeah, we got here at Michigan because they give their head coaches a free pass to do what they want to do.
That's what it appears.
And the formula of, hey, former Michigan man who played here now can come back and be a coach, and we can live out the Cinderella story. And never mind all the nonsense and all the violations and all the terrible things you do when no TV cameras are watching. We're not going to talk about all that. But as long as you win, we're gonna go to the grave for you. We're gonna do everything that we can do to keep you and defend us, even if it makes us look like idiots. And that's where I say, hey, if you treat this Juwan Howard situation the same way that you treated the Jim Harbaugh situation, it will not end well for you. So I don't know. That's why I say when we talk about Warde Manuel's job and just how hot the seat is, I'm not confident the seat is that hot, because if the seat was hot,
you really don't think so?
No, because here's why. Because if the seat was hot, you would have been done after the football season. They would have said, hey, you know what? Yeah, we got all this stuff happening in the football program, and football right now is really the biggest, the thing that pays for everything, and we can't jeopardize that. And we can't be seen to be a program that cheats, that does things below board, if you will. But he's still
below
here.
Board.
He's still here.
Awesome.
He's still doing this. And so to me, I look at it and I say, maybe his seat's not hot. Maybe the people at Michigan are cool with this. Maybe the narrative is, hey, Warde, we need to win. And to win in college athletics these days, it's a do whatever it takes mentality, even if that gets us in trouble, and we'll put out the fires when they get here.
And the hard part about Juwan Howard is you're just 2 seasons, not even 2 full seasons removed from the Sweet 16. And the year before that, the Elite 8. And now all of a sudden you find yourself an absolute dumpster fire, and you had talent coming in and everybody was excited, and this thing is just fallen apart. And the hard part for Michigan is Juwan Howard has actually won games for you. It's not like he's a bad coach. He's a bad manager. And I think that's when it comes to managing human beings, I think that's the real issue, is that he is a bad manager. And he is in my opinion, he's a bad maker of men.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at the example that Juwan Howard sets with his own conduct, That's a problem. And I think it's more of a problem than the success of the Elite Eight and the Sweet 16 and winning a Big Ten championship. I think it's far more of a problem than that. And if these investigations come out and detail off-court behavior that is problematic in the basketball department, as we are hearing may be the case, and if those allegations are what we're being told they are, and again, I'm not trying to be, deceptive, or if those allegations are what we're being told they are, I don't know how you keep Warde Manuel.
Mm-hmm.
If he keeps a lid on the basket, I think if you fire Juwan Howard, I think all hell's going to break loose because you're going to lose most of your roster. I don't think there's any question about that. And frankly, I can't see a way that you keep him now, because when you get the media and the NCAA poking their nose around an athletic department, the athletic director knows about the issues they're looking into. You would hope.
Mm-hmm.
Right. You can't make the argument to me anyway that Warde Manuel was completely just some innocent bystander in these football scandals.
Look at what they did with Jim Harbaugh's contract. Look at what they tried to do to keep him. Like, they're sending a clear message about how they want to operate their athletic department. And notice, I'm not saying their football team, their athletic department. Win at all costs. We don't care what it takes. We will figure it out when the fires are here. We'll find a way to put it out. I'm past saying, oh man, this was just a Jim Harbaugh issue. No, you knew what Jim Harbaugh was. You allowed him to do what he did. And then you tried to defend him, and you still haven't fired Warde Manuel. And now we're sitting here not even a month later talking about an alleged scandal in your basketball program. And that's what bothers me, dude. Like, it's just okay. It's cool in Michigan Wolverine Nation to have issues. It's fine. Hey, are you winning? Like, that's his biggest problem right now. Like, you're not exactly lighting the world on fire in basketball, dude.
No, you're not.
That's your problem. So we can't have losing and issues. If you win, you can have issues. That's why I'm saying I wouldn't be surprised if you moved on from Juwan Howard, you kept Warde Manuel, and he continues to be your puppet, right? That's what I'm saying. This is a higher level issue.
To be your puppet.
Yeah.
I think the reason that I don't believe necessarily that Warde Manuel's in trouble at Michigan. And I say that because if you were unhappy with or questioning his performance, you would not have allowed him to become the chairman of the College Football Playoff Committee. You would not have allowed him to do that. You would not have allowed him to travel. You would not have allowed him to. And how many of you right now are like, well, dude, can Michigan control that? You're goddamn right, Michigan controls that. He has to go and tell his boss. I would assume Santa Ono, the president at Michigan, would have signed off and said, yeah, sure, go for it, Warde. I would think. You can't tell me in any way, shape, or form that he would have just done that, and Ono would have been like, oh, wow, look at that. I just got an update that Warde Manuel's on the College Football Playoff Committee. That's pretty cool. Doesn't work like that, right? And are you also going to tell me that Warde Manuel, when his basketball team is what, 8-19, 5-8 at Chrysler Arena? Are you kidding me? Come on. You don't survive that if you're Juwan Howard. All right. One other angle on this I want to get to before we get to your comments. Number one, hit the like button. We've had over 500 people watch a show. What are we, 21 likes? Come on, you guys. Hit the like button. 19 likes, excuse me.
Man.
19 likes with over 575 people watching the show. Hit the like button. That'd be great. One other thing about this that I think is interesting. The NCAA Committee on Infractions considering rules to punish non-athletic personnel. How are you going to do that? You are the athletic management body of college athletics and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Your job is to protect and administrate college athletics. How are you going to suspend the president of a university? How are you going to suspend the athletic director of a university? How are you going to enforce that?
Yeah, I think that this is this play out of the NCAA is directly off the Michigan scandal.
So you do.
I think it's 100% correlated, targeted. Okay. So the Michigan cheating scandal and the Matt Weiss situation with the FBI, that whole thing in the football program. What they're saying with this rule, and with this set of rules, I should say, is that, hey, we're not just going to focus on Jim and Matt Weiss and sign stealer guy and Warde Manuel.
Sign stealer guy.
We're not just focusing on the guys who were at the middle of this. We're focusing on the administrators that allowed it to happen, because our job is to keep athletics on the straight and narrow. And if an administrator, if Santa Ono, let's say, and I'm not saying he knew about every little detail, but again, it's the old whether Jim knew or didn't know, it doesn't matter. Dude, if Santa Ono is going to sit there and be like, yeah, I had no idea. But Santa Ono, we have line item budgets on paper for sending Buddy out to go steal signs and sending people out to go do things to help Michigan's football team. How did you not know? That's why they're doing this. It's hey, everybody in the web of nefarious activities is going to be caught. Everybody. That's why they're doing this, in my opinion.
Santa Ono is a very interesting figure, because you guys recognize, I think he's only been the president at Michigan for 18 months. I mean, you walked into a scandal, right? Your former president was removed by the Board of Regents. You were installed in about 18 months ago, a little less than that. It was October of 2022. And this is all you've been dealing with. You have had tumult and controversy in your athletic department from day one. And it is amazing to me that you walked into this, and I think all that did was raise the level of influence and power of Warde Manuel at Michigan. And I think that's why you have the issues in the athletic department you have, because you don't have a president that has any oversight over athletics. None. Zero. Warde Manuel runs Michigan athletics. And I think that is a very interesting component. And this rules package, I don't know how you look at this rules package and think it's anything but directed right at Michigan athletics. I don't know how you would look at this any other way, because I still can't find a way to connect A plus B equals sanctioning a president at a university through the NCAA. How are you going to do that?
Maybe you don't sanction him directly, but maybe you pile onto the discipline. Hey, Santa Ono's role in this was X, Y, and Z. Because of that, here's the additional punishment. Obviously, you can't keep someone off the field or out of the building who doesn't go in the building and doesn't play in the game, right? Obviously, that's not possible.
What are you going to say? You can't come and watch your basketball team or your football team?
Right. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not like, hey, they're going to suspend him 2 weeks. It's just going to be, hey, I'm telling you, it is going to be cold-blooded, clean, methodical, and thorough. There's going to be a piece of paper that says, here are all the people that are involved. Here's what they did. Here's the penalty for those activities. The NCAA does not care. I'm telling you, they do not give a damn who you are.
Yeah, and I think if you're the NCAA and you know that Warde Manuel and Santa Ono, for example, were complicit in sign stealer guy, let's say, for an example. Let's say that the NCAA knew that. You're just going to cripple the football department.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't think you can say to Santa Ono, hey, here's a $10 million fine. Pay it out of your personal checking account. He's not doing that. He's not doing that. You don't have, like, and the other part of this is, like, Warde Manuel, I could see you being able to sanction an athletic director. I could see putting a show cause notice on an athletic director. I can see saying that athletic director, we're going to put in a monitor, and that athletic director can have no oversight for 6 months, thereby forcing Michigan to fire their athletic director. Okay, I can see that. I could absolutely see that. I cannot see you saying, okay, yeah, the athletic director can't have any oversight of the program for 6 months and then doing nothing to enforce that or make sure that that's in place.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't see how, I just don't know how one gets to the other. That's my point. So your thoughts on that? As always, we tell you that our comment section is brought to you by our friends at Prize Picks. PrizePicks.com. Use the promo code Monty for the very best daily fantasy experience. So close, but yet so far away last night. I don't know how you get. Yeah, I love Prize Picks in the NBA. I'm never taking another Jazz player in Prize Picks.
Telling you, it's one of the most unpredictable things to do.
Lauri Markkanen did not help me last night in any way, shape, or form. How did the Utah Jazz, we're going to talk about it. How did they lose to Charlotte? Prize Picks is amazing. I love it. It's very simply a Lauri Markkanen's going to have 44 points, rebounds, and assists combined. Less or more. It's that simple in every aspect. You know what I've really gotten into here? Excuse me. Golf. I love how many pars. More or less. 17 pars or better. More or less. How many putts? More or less. Like, I love it. And they don't, the funny thing is, Prize Picks doesn't offer you putts at every tournament. Like, they're in Mexico. Tony Finau, let's go, buddy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't believe on Prize Picks that you can get putts today. Like, it's crazy how they know which courses and which tournaments putting's going to be an issue in. But they do. That's the greatness of Prize Picks. Download the app and then join our members-only group on Instagram, where, like, who's our Harper? Joseph Harper, dominating on Prize Picks. Punk. Meanwhile, I sit here and suffer in silence. I'll go on like 10 straight wins on Prize Picks, and then I'll lose like 5 straight.
Yeah, the two extras in golf today are greens in regulation and fairways hit. Greens in regulation. Yeah.
That's going to be very difficult.
Yeah.
That's going to be very difficult. All right. First in today is Matt Ritson. What's worse, Michigan AD or Arizona and Arizona State AD?
Well, the Arizona thing is just stupidity. It's you did that to yourself. They didn't try to cheat anyone. They didn't try to, they're like, I think those two are different because the Arizona thing is them just screwing themselves. Whereas Michigan is cheating and trying to get an upper hand and undermining the sport. So if you're asking me which is worse, Michigan's worse for college football, no question.
Yeah.
But in terms of health of program, yeah, Arizona screwed themselves something terrible.
Payson Cougar fan. Oh my God, it's too early. Need that Monty fix in the afternoon. Yeah, not available. Big Daddy Magic. It's time to play the game. Yes, it is. Adam Monks, good morning to you from the GZ. Good morning, Monty. Like and share. Let's go. Yes, please do. Mike Smith, so glad I blocked some of those Michigan trolls. The Michigan trolls are tough on this show.
Yeah, if you expect to have a logical and reasonable conversation with Michigan fan, you're mistaken.
Old white. Jake's looks like he had too many shots of bad whiskey last night.
Yeah, it's Friday. We get up early. I'm a little tired today.
Jake's been in a pissy ass mood since he got here. It's fine. Dakota Tubbs, happy Friday, you knuckleheads. I agree. Ron Loney. Oh boy, Ron Loney's here. I'm surprised your first comment isn't something. Usually your first comment rips Joe Biden or something. You get hit by a semi and you have bigger problems than insurance. Yeah, I don't think you do, because your insurance company is not going to back you up and help you get healthy. I don't know when it became the rule that I have to drive. When I go down to St. George to play golf next weekend, I guarantee you it's going to snow. I already looked at the forecast. The drive home will be miserable. And I will wind up having to avoid like 10 kamikaze truck drivers. It's a real problem. And I think people don't think about the issues that you have on the freeway when you get in an accident with a truck driver, man.
Yeah.
It's brutal. Mike Smith, Mountain Mama. How does Michigan AD still have his job, both football and basketball scandals?
Because it's the culture at Michigan from the top down.
It is.
Win at all costs. We do not care how you get that done. Again, it is the mentality of we will deal with the fires when they're raging. Go get us something. And that's why I'm saying Juwan's biggest problem is not all the dumbass things he's been doing. His problem is they're not winning. So if you win, you can have all these problems. But if you lose and you have all these problems, now you're getting fired.
No, I think Warde Manuel's biggest problem is Warde Manuel. That's what I think. I think Warde Manuel feels to me like that guy who doesn't want to hurt anybody's feelings. That's what it feels like to me. You should have fired.
Well, it's like it's either that or it's Ward. I'm telling you, and I know it sounds crazy, and I'm happy to be called an idiot on this one. I really am starting to feel like Warde Manuel is one of those dudes that was put in place just to be the bridge between the two, right? Santaono and above, Warde Manuel is their dude, right? Hey, Ward, what's happening over here? Like, how big is the problem? Like, imagine Warde Manuel walking into a boardroom with like Santaono and several other bigwigs at Michigan and talking about the state of the athletic department. Like, is Ward in a place where he can be like, yeah, here's the issues we're facing. Jim did X, Y, and Z, but this is what the media knows about. This is what the NCAA knows about, as far as I'm concerned. Like, is that the conversation? Or is it more like, hey, Ward, the athletics department is burning to the ground. What are we doing about this? Because I think it's conversation A. I think that they're comfortable with it. They're good with it. And they're just trying to find their way through the storm. And all they want to do is just win. And if you win, you're good.
And I look at the incident at Wisconsin with Juwan Howard, where Warde Manuel did not take decisive action. He waited for the Big Ten. And if you remember, and the details are a bit hazy, but Juwan Howard was suspended for the rest of the regular season, fined a significant amount of money. I think it was like $30,000, $40,000. After he got into an incident in the handshake line where he hit one of the Badgers in the face. And you had to liaison with the Big Ten to figure out discipline? Nah, dude, you're done. Juwan Howard, the moment that happened, I would have fired Juwan Howard.
Mm-hmm.
When you physically put your hands on an opponent after a game, you're done. It's this Isaiah Stewart thing, right, in the NBA where he won't be charged. Charges were dropped, but he's suspended 3 games. Like, it was no doubt he was going to miss time and pay a fine. You had to talk to the Big Ten about that, Ward?
But at least with the Stewart thing, like, Stewart knows what's going to go down. Like, if you're going to go into the tunnel and try to get into a fight, you know you're going to get fined. You know you're going to get suspended. And I think the only thing people were surprised about initially is that there were actual charges. So to me, that's like a player. Like, that's different because that's a player going into the tunnel knowing that he's gonna get beat over the head for what he's about to do. But I truly wonder, because like when we do these shows, like when we were doing the Michigan cheating scandal stuff, every day I would think about, man, like if you're Jim Harbaugh and you were coming into the building every day and doing your job, were you just like, yeah, dude, we're good. We can put this on paper because we know that we're taken care of.
All I know is if you're gonna assault, allegedly, another, and I want to say it was an assistant coach at Wisconsin, and your athletic director has to talk to the Big Ten. You're Michigan. Do you really need somebody else's opinion to act? You shouldn't. Steve Stepanek says, "Hey Monty, good morning. Good morning to you." Let's see, Wayne Russell. Don't forget the sexual abuse, rape allegations. There are none in the hockey program. Please don't bring this to our show because I'm not going to read your comments on that. Michigan has a dirty athletic department. No way. I know it's shocking, right? I know it's absolutely shocking. Tanner Plummer, good morning. Have you recovered from Real Salt Lake's debauchery? Oh, but Ryan Smith, he's a championship owner.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
That's bullshit.
He's part of the ownership group at Real Salt Lake. We're going to win cups everywhere.
Yeah, right.
Like at the bar. Like you win those logo cups with the... Never mind. Michigan just can't stay out of trouble. No, they can't. Ron Loney, Juwan Howard and Jim Harbaugh always had a problem shaking hands. They have had issues shaking hands. Like, Mike Smith, Michigan is freaky naughty. Freaky naughty. Okay. Mike also says raising the bar of dysfunction. Indeed. What does Mr. Downtown, what does the NCAA even do? It's like they play Galaga all day and then, oh snap, then they realize they have to work. I don't think, see, this is, I guess, a different conversation, but I don't think the NCAA does a bad job. We just don't like their process.
Yeah, I think their process, is very archaic. It's caveman because it's so slow. And that's the issue we've always had with it. Hey, like, X happened in January and we're not seeing punishment till next January. Like, it's way too slow. But I would agree. I mean, I don't think they do a bad job. I mean, when the punishment comes down, what's the reaction? Oh, this is way too heavy-handed. How could they do that? Like, okay, cool. If you don't like the process and the punishment, that's fine. But that's their process. And by the way, they're reforming the process. Why do you think they're rolling out new rules packages and like speeding it up?
And the 99% of their other work is really good. You don't even know half the other stuff that they do. The point is, you don't like their enforcement division. That's what you don't like. D-Rock Irish says sanctioning Santa. Yeah. That dude walked into a dumpster fire, and I just don't think has ever taken control of it. Like, you've got to get your hands around Warde Manuel and either fire him or you have got to make him act in kind. That to me, that's important. That you've got to find a way to keep your athletic department within the rules and regulations like everybody else does. And if you're not, at least don't get caught constantly, right? That's what's so amazing to me. Dirk McLovin, this Michigan thing has many levels. Warde wanted to get rid of Harbaugh. Harbaugh wanted to get rid of Warde. And meanwhile, you had people on the board that would like to get rid of football. I think you have a situation with Warde Manuel where Jim Harbaugh humiliated him. And I don't know that I would agree that the board, there is an issue that I think the people that administer and run Michigan as an institution of an educational institution, and it is an elite one, want nothing to do with this. And I think it's why you were so mediocre for so long, because you just simply didn't have a need or a want to do what needs to be done. Right? It's not what I say it every day, I feel like. It's not what you're capable of, it's what you're willing to do. Michigan for decades was not willing to do what had to be done. And then you hired Jim Harbaugh, who couldn't do what needed to be done. So we went and did what had to be done to get done what you wanted to get done and stuff. And apparently that included overseeing a football department with a massive cheating scandal. So now here we are, and you have this basketball issue, and you have a massive multi-level investigations into your football department. You got to fire the athletic director.
Yeah.
Period. I don't think they will. Tanner, do the Michigan Trolls care about basketball? I'm sure they do. Mike Smith, J2H is in red ass mode. He is. Always. Why are you in a crappy mood today?
I didn't know I was in a crappy mood, and then apparently I was. So, yeah, I'm tired of Michigan. I'm tired of it. I'm over it. Like, I'm tired of talking about some great, educational institution, and they are. I completely agree with that. They're one of the best educational institutions in the country. There's no disputing that. Like, I have full respect on that portion of the conversation, 100%. But I'm just over the concept of, we're gonna go and burn the field. We're gonna bounce, and then when people run us down, I didn't do that.
Me,
I would never. I didn't line item budgets. I would never.
Me.
This is America's team. These kids deserve better. Like, it's incredible to me that we always have to do this.
We do.
And it's like, and it's both sides. It's Stanford going to the ACC. Stanford's got no business being in the ACC. You're a West Coast institution. That's one of the best educational institutions in the land. And you're not good athletically in recent times, but you have been good historically.
What do you always say about Stanford?
You don't win anything. And so Michigan wasn't winning anything. And so what did they do? They went and got the hyenas out of the pros and brought them back. They paid a price, and now they're going to continue to pay a price.
But they won.
And
now, obviously, Juwan's not won an NCAA tournament, but he's gone to the 8 and the 16.
It's what I asked. Was everything that's coming to you for the football thing worth your 5 minutes of glory on one night.
I don't know. Was it?
Champion. I don't
was
know.
it?
I don't know. That it's not real. I don't think it was. I think it's more. I'd rather be Ryan Day in Ohio State. I'd rather be the guy that's in the college football playoff regularly, doesn't ever win it,
making money,
but you're making money. You're relevant. You're able to go get the Will Howards of the world and be relevant and have all this talent. Chip Kelly, like you're able to go and operate and do all this stuff and run a clean program.
I'd far rather be Ohio State than
And
Michigan.
by the way, Michigan fan, if you want to say, oh, well, Ohio State does nefarious stuff, well, as far as I'm concerned, they don't, because they haven't been caught if they are doing those things.
And the other part of this is Jim Harbaugh couldn't beat Ohio State until sign stealer guy showed up at Western Michigan.
And I still haven't heard an explanation about Central Michigan.
And Central Michigan. We've asked Central Michigan multiple times. We've asked multiple times. They I don't know what's their email server must be down.
Yeah.
They don't want to talk about it.
Jim seems like an AOL guy, so that's probably the issue.
Chad Carter, good morning. Love the morning show as it lines up with my commute. Appreciate you, Chad. Welcome to Friday. Hope your commute goes well. Woody Hayes likes your style, Juwan. Seriously. Remember Woody Hayes at Ohio State? Tanner Plummer, ends justify the means mentality at me.
That's what I mean.
Michigan.
That's exactly what I mean.
That's a great point, Tanner.
That's exactly what I'm talking about, Tanner. Great
Does
point.
it? And I think this will be the long-lasting question, because at some point the Committee on Infractions is coming for that.
But like when you look at Michigan,
will it be worth it?
Dude, when you look at Alabama under Saban, we never had any of this nonsense. Kirby, for the most part,
team all SRT,
right? Outside of that, and I love joking about that first team all SRT.
Well, there's people who are dead,
right? So you killed people and you did things, but outside of that, your program's been pretty clean. You haven't had
back-to-back national championships.
Yeah, like it's been pretty good in Athens. But Nick Saban set the gold standard. Hey, we're going to be relevant every single year. We're going to win a bunch of national championships. We're always in the conversation, and we're never in the negative media.
And what has Saban said about dealing with players who have off-field issues? I'm going to stand by that kid. I'm going to hold that kid accountable. And if he shapes up, we're not going to ship him out. But what did he say about Brandon Miller at Alabama basketball?
Mm-hmm.
No
Great
such
example.
thing. No such thing as the wrong place at the wrong time. And if you had done that at Michigan, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. That's the amazing thing. Mountain Mama says J2H is right. Winning cures a lot of woes. Certainly it does. Certainly it does. Mike also says, so Howard's application for Walmart greeter is not looking good.
Nope.
You knocked an assistant coach upside his head. Dakota Tubbs. How's Vladdy this morning? He's feeling okay? Any more leg cramps? Time and time again, the big shows they are okay with adults touching kids.
That's facts. I mean, as much as that's jokes, that's facts.
On and off the court.
Yeah.
Wow.
And again, this is what I always say about the media cycle. Look at how there's been nothing on Northwestern for how long now? You fired Buddy. They wore those shirts, and now there's been nothing on that situation.
What did they say yesterday? The cucumber car wash?
Yeah, exactly. The cucumber car wash, right? The obstacles in the shower stalls, right? Like, that's what I'm talking about. Like, the Michigan cheating thing is not as bad as the Northwestern shower stall situation. Anytime you're involving Penn State style situations.
No, anytime you're involving multiple men and their penises, things are not good in your football.
So then let me get this right. Multiple men and their penises 20 years ago, and now you want to rename the field Joe Pa Field. That's exactly what I'm talking about in the Big Ten.
Pedo State at its finest.
Come on, man.
Right?
Come on.
Jeremiah Champion, good morning. It's Friday morning, gentlemen. Looking forward to the show. Grum, thank you for being here, Jeremiah. Pew, pew. Tanner Plummer, I've recovered from RSL's collapse, but I haven't recovered from the Jazz last night.
Dude.
Probably should go see your proctologist if you want to recover.
Give us
from
10
Jazz.
minutes and we're going to talk about the Jazz.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Mike Smith, NCAA does not subscribe to the instant gratification philosophy. No, they don't. Juwan needs to get processed.
Yeah, exactly.
Processed. Brandon Butler. Good morning, Brandon. Also recovering from RSL's piping. NCAA has to be methodical. They need to take their time. If they are going for a scalp, They want to make sure the university can't fight back.
Cold-blooded, clean, methodical, and thorough.
That's a great point, Dirk McLovin. The NCAA is looking at Michigan and should have a decision by 2028.
Well said.
Right. Dirk also says, would I trade 3 years of probation for a natty? Most SEC fans would say, hell yeah.
Well,
I don't know. Would you?
Most SEC fans don't have to because they're busy winning natties in a clean program. That's the problem.
Driving SRTs.
So.
Allegedly. Anyway, Sean Rollins gifted a Monty Show membership. Yeah, whatever happened to Gifting Friday?
I don't know.
Remember we used to all give away memberships on Fridays?